It's episode 3 of the Vice City Academy series, and today we're going to be looking at some weapons in Vice City. As this is a running video series, I'm going to presume that you've seen the last episode, which was episode 2, Mouse Settings. However, if you haven't seen this episode, feel free to go back and watch it. It isn't necessary, but for this video it may help a lot. Being able to aim well in Vice City multiplayer isn't the only thing you need to know how to do. There are a number of different weapon characteristics which apply differently to each weapon. Characteristics such as damage per shot, maximum range, fire rate, spread, and whether the weapon can headshot or not. Knowing all of these characteristics for every weapon in Vice City multiplayer can provide a huge advantage when it comes to strategy. For example, knowing when to use one weapon over another. At this point you may be thinking, isn't the amount of ammo that a gun's magazine can hold also important? Well, kind of, and kind of not. This is because Vice City multiplayer, or Vice City in general, has problems storing the amount of ammo that you have. For example, if you empty half a magazine, and then switch to another weapon, and switch back, you'll notice that the ammo is now full again. This means that you can skip the reload animation, and if you do it correctly, you'll have enough ammo that you won't run out. However, the advantage of this is out of the scope of this video and will be covered in another video in future. So let's take a look at some weapons. The first and most basic weapon in the game is the Colt 45. The Colt 45 deals 8 HP damage per shot. It has quite a short range, I'd say about 20 meters, with a pretty slow fire rate in between shots. Overall, the Colt 45 isn't a good primary weapon. It's best used as a secondary weapon. It deals low damage regardless of where you hit the head or the body. It's best used to finish opponents off that are almost dead. One other good use for it is to create a distraction with it. So for example, if you have a teammate who's fighting another opponent, you can shoot at that opponent and that will hopefully draw the attention of the opponent to you instead of your teammate. So the next weapon on the list is the Python. Unlike the Colt 45, this weapon is a lot more slower and you also can't walk and shoot with it. However, on the upside, the Python does a lot more damage than the Colt. The Python is able to do 45 HP damage per shot. This means that it takes a total of 3 shots to kill an enemy at full health. In terms of range, the Python also has the same range as the Colt 45. For that reason, the Python is most useful in close combat in the following situations. A. When your opponent has about 35 to 45 HP so you can get a sneaky one-hit kill. B. In a shotgun battle when you or your opponent's shotgun is out of range, you can use the Python to get a little bit extra range that your shotgun wouldn't be able to reach. And C is a great follow-up weapon to quickly finish off your opponent on the ground after you knock them down with a shotgun. Again, like the Colt 45, regardless of whether you hit the head or the body, you won't get a one-hit headshot. Overall, the Python can be quite difficult to lead aim with due to its one shot. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the submachine guns in the game. In Vice City, there are 4 submachine guns in total. 2 of these you can walk with, which are the Tech 9 and the Ingrams, and the other 2 are stationary, which is the MP5 and the Uzi. So the weakest of these is the Tech 9. It has a very low damage per shot, of about 6 or 7 HP per hit. It has a slow fire rate and a short range compared to the MP5 and the Uzi. Overall, the Tech 9 is a decent weapon to use. It's got decent damage, a decent fire rate. It's good for finishing off opponents that have low health or opponents that aren't moving very fast. However, the same as the Colt 45, it's a secondary weapon and you shouldn't rely on it too much. The next weapon is the Ingram. It's basically an improved version of the Tech 9. It does a little less damage than the Tech 9 with 5 hit points per shot. However, it makes up for this by the fast fire rate. It also has the exact same range as the Tech 9. The next weapon is the Uzi. The Uzi is one of the 2 stationary SMGs in the game. It deals about 6 HP damage per shot, the same as the Tech 9, but also has a very fast fire rate. It's got a farther range than the Tech 9 and the Ingram, but the drawback is that it's a stationary weapon, meaning that you can't walk and fire with it. Last out of the two stationary weapons is the MP5. The MP5 is similar to the Uzi in the fact that it has a slightly lower fire rate, but deals more damage. The MP5 can deal about 12 damage per shot, and has the exact same range as an Uzi. Now something that I'd like to point out about all the SMGs is that headshots are possible with each one of them. However, it seems to be pretty random. Instead of one hit to the head to create a headshot, it can sometimes take a few. I've noticed that the Ingram was good in particular at getting headshots. I assume this is because of the high fire rate of the gun. The worst gun at achieving the headshot was the MP5. It's still possible, however it's very rare. The advantage of this is that it lets you get quick close range kills, especially if your opponents are in their way of your presence, or they're distracted. So the third section we're going to look at is shotguns. Shotguns play a dominant role in VCMP and are very important at close range. There are two reasons why shotguns are so popular in Vice City multiplayer. The first reason for this is the weapon characteristic of spread. Spread can be measured by how wide of an area is covered by the shells coming out of the shotgun. This makes lead aiming much easier to do. As you're covering a wider area, you've got a higher chance of hitting your opponent. The wider the area of the spread, the easier it will be to hit your opponent. The second reason why shotguns are so popular is that they knock opponents to the ground. While another player is knocked down on the ground, they are defenceless and they can't do anything. This gives you about 3 or 4 seconds, a small amount of time to do some damage to them. So the first shotgun we'll look at is the Spaz shotgun. This is the most popular gun amongst new players. As you can see in the Spaz shotgun, the spread isn't very wide, it's quite tight. However, the Spaz isn't a single shot. It can fire up to 7 times before having to reload. This means you can create your own spread. At a distance, the Spaz causes 53 HP damage per shot. This number doubles the closer that you get. So for example, at one range it will do 53 HP damage, the next range it will do 66 HP damage, and the last range it will do 132 damage. By being close enough to the enemy, this allows for a one-hit kill. There are two ways to play Spaz. One way is to go full auto, where you essentially spray and pray and hope to hit the target. The obvious advantage to this is that you're increasing your chance to successfully hit the target. However, on the other side, you're also increasing the chance that you will be hit. This is because you're required to stand still until you empty the full amount of the Spaz. On the other hand, you can do single shots with the Spaz. To do this, just perform a single shot. When you know your chances are high of hitting an opponent and it's safe, then you can go full auto. This allows you to be constantly on the move, reducing your chances of being hit. I recommend a mix of both to keep yourself from being too predictable. The next weapon is the Chrome shotgun. This gun has the longest range out of all the shotguns. The Chrome shotgun is a single shot. It has a slightly wider spread than the Spaz, and a slightly longer range. Just as the Spaz does, the Chrome shotgun also does more damage the closer you are to the enemy. This ranges from 27 HP damage to 53 HP damage, with a maximum of 80 HP damage. This means that the shotgun cannot kill in one hit. The shotgun is a decent weapon at knocking opponents down at medium range. It also fares pretty well against the stubby, as it fires a little faster and it can outrange the stubby very easily. Therefore, this brings us on to the last shotgun, which is the stubby shotgun. The stubby shotgun has a very low range of only a few meters. This makes it the lowest ranged weapon of all the shotguns. However, on the upside, it has a very wide spread and deals a lot of damage up close. Again, depending on distance, this ranges from 40 HP to 80 HP to 159 HP. The stubby shotgun is a great weapon if you like to hunt your opponents down and get right in their face. Just remember that with all shotguns they're considered heavy weapons. This means that you can't sprint with them. In order to sprint you'll have to switch to a lighter weapon and switch in between and back. In regards to headshots, this is possible, however it's extremely rare to happen. This will most likely happen in battle due to luck. This was part 1 of the weapons episode of the Vice City Academy series. In the next episode we're going to be taking a look at some weapons such as the Ruger, the M4, the M60 and the laser sniper. If you're still here and you've made it to the end of this episode, then hopefully you enjoyed it and it wasn't too long. If you found something useful in this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in part 2, please subscribe to be alerted for when it's out. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.